Hi, everybody. How are you? I'm so glad to be here with you in this new channel of Lean Agile Sense Framework, when we're going to be sharing a lot of information about what we have been exploring, doing with principles, lean principles in sales for the last 8, 10 years. Now, I know a lot of people has been requesting this channel in English. Sorry if we are going to be late in this way, but we have been working so hard on doing some content and especially working with some of our customers, a lot of customers actually, and a lot of buyers that are actually sharing a lot of information that we hope is going to be very valuable for all of you. I'm not going to be alone in this trip. We're going to be sharing with I'm going to be sharing with my co-partner Eduardo Luna, that it's been adding a lot of value in all this business and understanding, not just on the business and on the sales side, but also as an entrepreneur, also as someone who has been doing a lot of things in technology, software development, entrepreneur, and understanding from the data point of view and from the marketing side. Actually, he has been creating also a lean marketing framework as well. We're going to be talking about that later. But in this way, welcome to all of you. Of course, we are willing to understand and know exactly whatever question you have. Please let us know in this channel, and we will try to approach and respond to you as soon as possible. So we're going to be starting, probably if you have seen in our previous video when we were sharing with Charles Maddox, one of our webinars, the introduction, and probably the second and the third one. Probably you have seen some information about what we're going to be talking about, but especially what we're going to be sharing with you is the Lean Agile Sales framework and how to apply it. But before going to that point, we really want to explain what is going on right now. And before going to that situation, I would like to introduce to all of you that probably still don't know me, but I've been in technology business for 23 years, managing B2B sales teams in multinational companies. I've been living in so many countries and applying and trying to understand exactly how customers buy, especially in large projects, and also doing global expansion projects. And this is quite important because I've been in the other side. I've been doing projects on the expansion field, being a buyer, with large costs, with large projects, and I totally understand the frustration and some of the challenges to buy some, software, hardware, even other kind of things for complex projects. And since that time, I totally understood that the relationship between corporates and the providers have a lot of challenges, a lot of opportunities, and I've been working in that way since that time. But enough about me. Let's talk about Eduardo. Eduardo, it's always been a pleasure to be sharing all this information with you along all these years. We're not just partners, we're friends, we're almost brothers. And I know that you have a lot of experience, as I already mentioned, but please introduce yourself to the channel.
Thank you, Gerardo. I'm very excited to be with you today, sharing all this information that we have been getting from our clients, helping a lot of people from all the world. And yeah, a little about myself. I'm a former software developer, but as Gerardo likes to say, and I will like to do this joke, is I passed to the dark side of the marketing. I started learning marketing because I have IT companies at the beginning, and it was very difficult to really sell or do sales via social media. That's why I started learning from a lot of coach globally, and I started realizing that the best way to sell or the best way to do a good marketing strategy was really understanding what the customers need. So I have 7 years of managing IT revenue teams, global expansions too. I am not helping only people in Spanish, English. I'm also doing business right now in Portuguese. It's very I am very excited to doing that globally because I think that there is a real opportunity right now for us because we are going to start to think global. I think that companies are starting to think global. I remember Gerardo. As you remember, I was your client, and I didn't think global in that moment. I was thinking like Mexico is the only place to expand companies, and after working with you in these 7 years. Right now, I'm really happy that we do this joint venture or this partnership because uh, the opportunity of understanding a customer, of creating a marketing campaign that is based on data and not of the creative side, and not is not about hiring the best people who are the best creatives. It's more about to hire uh, data a data area in a company who is focused on understanding. So yeah, that's a little about me. As you can see, I'm the data guy who is always trying to understand what is happening right now and what is going to be happening maybe in the next 7 years, 5 years, 10 years. Because if we are not prepared for what is coming, our clients are not going to be prepared of what is coming. But thank you, Gerardo, and I'm happy to be sharing with you this in this podcast of Lean Sales, Lean Agile
Well,
Sales.
I think it's awesome you're mentioning this because most of the information that we're going to be sharing, it has to do with all these global expansions of companies, with the competitors are all around. And some of the principles are applied to any kind of situation of complex projects. So, of course, regionally, there's some specific situations that it will apply to any kind of country that you are dealing with. But what we have been understanding all these years is that in B2B, it's quite complicated to just apply techniques and not understanding exactly what our customers want. Even though I really appreciated that there's a lot of methodologies that we have been learning also in the last year, consultative sellings, and all the things that are behind on all these sales complex projects. I also understand that nowadays it's relevant to have new ways of selling. And it's not just about selling, it's about like solving problems. And let me tell you a little bit about like what are we going to be sharing with you in the next slides. To get into that understanding, I would like to share with you that in the last years we have been, Eduardo and I, working very hard, not just in the sales and marketing process, but also into understanding how products are developed in this digital world. And that just got us to this point to understand that all the things that we have been doing around the development of IT projects or development on digital products, it cannot be ended in a good way if sales and marketing are not aligned to this. So what is going on with the market and the B2B situations right now? Several touch points to get buyer's decision. In this way, Gardner gave us an understanding on how complex right now, nowadays, is the touch point in the buyer's decision. And in this way, Eduardo, I know you love data. I know you have been sharing with a lot of us some information, but it's when you see this, it just got to our mind. Of course, I always believe that there's going to be a lot of decisions, behind the scenes of our customers that I never imagined that it was too complicated. So what do you think about it?
Yeah, it's interesting, and it comes to my mind, Gerardo, when we start working together. That you remember that I was helping my clients doing marketing strategy for them, and they are starting to getting a lot of clients. but they didn't close those clients or those leads they were receiving in the marketing campaigns. And it's interesting because after like $1 million expended on Google AdWords, Facebook ads, and everything, people still believe that this is linear. And I think that there is the main problem. The people want to use the same strategies they are doing on B2C, trying to implement in the B2B. And I think that the main thing, Gerardo, here is we need to stop thinking that B2B and B2C are the same. It's not the same. There is a board that is making the decision. There is a board that is learning a lot before you came to you in the first call. So what it comes to my mind is like it's not because like this from Garner is from 2018, after before COVID and everything, and after COVID, people is still struggling with this. And I think Gerardo that the main problem is really thinking that B2C and B2B are the same. And yeah, if you are not mastering data in your company, you are losing a lot because you are not understanding that the customer is doing their own research without you. Is doing a research offline, is doing a research online. um, and I think, Gerardo, that this is going to be a problem if the company don't start switching to this way of selling, stop thinking in linear and more thinking and a lot of cycles that are happening across the buying journey.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Eduardo, it's quite interesting what you're saying because two specific things. The one that you're mentioning about like thinking that B2C is the same way of selling as B2B. I know in some channels, other channels are referring especially to techniques, and that even if you're selling to B2B, one person is going to decide. Well, this is something that we need to understand very clearly. When of course when you are in a relation with in trying to understand how companies develop and understand their problems, of course there's always going to be a decision maker. But you know something, the stats always says that nowadays is complicated. The decisions are taking longer than ever. So if they're taking longer than ever, there's one specific thing we need to know. We need to start understanding how to lower the risk of buying something from the buyers as well, and how much risk they don't want to take. So, and the second point here, Eduardo, that you're mentioning is, if you can see in the yellow ones, is very similar to how product developments do is like since 5-10 years ago, understanding how to co-create and understanding problem solution driven. So we have two specific metrics here to understand. The first one is nowadays the buyers are changing, are taking longer, they want to lower the risk. And the second thing, there has been already some methodologies that understand customers. Right, Eduardo?
Yeah, because what is interesting is we change the way we build products. We are using Agile, we are implementing Agile, we are implementing Safe in our companies. We are switching or changing the way we do marketing, but sales. And with this, with this slide, Gerardo, I think that we need to bring the elephant to the room because a lot of people know that there is a problem, but they don't want to talk about this problem because, as Mackenzie says, we are in a VUCA environment: volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous. And please, please share all the information that is in this slide because I think that we need to start talking about what is happening, what is really happening, what are the symptoms, and what this is causing not only to the companies, to all the society, because they are doing a lot of things wrong. So as you say, Gerardo, the buyer is more educated, the buyer is doing their research and they don't want a vendor right now in the future, a lot of people think that there are not going to be any vendor. Maybe there are going to be bots or artificial intelligence. I don't know. But I think that we don't need to start talking about the future. We need to start talking about what is happening right now. What is happening with the remote and self-service, Gerardo?
Yeah. That's right. That's right. And also Gartner is showing a lot of stats and everything, and surveys that shows basically that all the expectations about artificial intelligence is, it's not working actually. And it's not working because, as the creators of Lean in Toyota, they always mention that you need to understand the process before you apply some technology. So if we're going to be talking about that, we need to understand exactly what's going on. And these graphics just show us exactly that if we are hiring some people or sales areas to really supply from services and solutions to customers, we need to be dig deeper. And this is something that it's not coming back. We don't need salespeople. We need people that solve problems. And if not, we're going to be wasting a lot of time talking about waste, Eduardo. And I think this is the matter that we always talk about, and we are very passionate about it, and how to reduce waste. Because something, a lot of people say, okay, give me some techniques to increase my sales, to close, faster and everything. Yeah, whatever. But if you're not really understanding how much things we're doing wrong, you're probably going to invest on increasing and doing more wrong the things that you're already doing. So we need to take care of that. And I love what Temasca BC has written about it, about great sales organization close from 30 to 40% of their deals, but they don't understand that basically they're working with 70% of process waste in sales. Sales is the only business function that actually survive with this waste of level. And we're investing a lot on digital marketing. We all want a lot of leads. We want to dominate the world. We want our brands to be shown all around the world, but we never understand exactly how much waste are we doing in our sales area. So this is something very, very relevant and critical for any sales organization, especially if you're hiring a lot of people to go with your customers and getting your new leads. So the stats never lies. It just goes right to the point. And
Yeah.
Eduardo, I think this is one of the most great discoveries that we have been having in this lean agile sales process in the last years.
Yeah, totally. I think that this is the big elephant I was talking about because I can imagine Gerardo going to a CEO or the board of directors are telling them, did you remember the 10 products that we are going to launch or that we want to launch in this year? We are going to launch only three of that 10. Or maybe, yeah, we have sales, we invest like $1 million of marketing, but we know that there is a 17% of waste, but it's okay, right? We are going to be fired in that moment from the company. They are going to be talk about a lot of worse things of us in LinkedIn, and it's very interesting because I remember to hear a guy in a social media telling like you have to knock 10 doors in order to close one deal. Imagine it's the 90% of waste, but they think that this is normal, and I think that this is not normal. As you say, the numbers never lie. So I think we need to start changing this because in a moment we are living right now, in a VUCA moment we are living right now, I don't think that these companies are going to survive the next years. I think that a lot of companies are going to close. For example, Huawei is closing all their physical stores in Chile, Gerardo. They just announced that they are not going to sell like only online. So I think that we need to start changing this and we need to start facing that is not normal to having a 17% of weight in sales. And I don't think I would like to hear about you, Gerardo. How you were helping groups of vendors in Europe, in Ireland, in UK, and how is feeling a person who is approaching 10 people, 100 people weekly, and it's only closing 10 of them. How is the team feeling with that? I think that that's the worst of doing sales right now if you have this kind of way.
Yes, of course, and I've been managing, as you already mentioned, some large sales teams. But I also was the one of these traditional sales director that was just
Yeah.
pushing to our sales team to close the deals because the numbers, they were just the important thing. And when I started exploring that, I was having a lot of difficulties to retain or to establish a long-term relationship with my customers because we were just focusing on closing initially and on understanding their problems. That's the one of the first steps that I to understand that I cannot be pushing my sales team to doing something that they don't really understand what is a waste of time. So talking about that, it's one of the things that we need to understand in two ways. The one thing is how we understand the waste related with all the things that we're doing with our customers. On the other side, understanding all the ways that we are doing, within our sales teams. It's like, and I'm not gonna we talking about like with the whole organization, with our marketing areas, with our product areas and everything. I know everybody's is working and trying to improve the processes and everything, but transformational things are not going through a point that you just can't realize exactly where you are if you don't actually understand where you're wasting. And lean always brings to the table to understand the value of the customer, how the customers understand the value. And understanding the value is one of the KPIs we're going to be talking about in the next videos. And how can we understand exactly the value? Because it seems like the value is a perception. No, it's not a perception. There are problems. There's something there that they need to prioritize their problems, and we need to help to understand our customer how to get there. So on the left hand, we have with our customers, some of the things that you have already been seeing, Eduardo, with also with the all customers, and how difficult it has been now that we are always all online, in digital approach to really understand our customers. And everybody thinks it's about the skills. Of course, there's gonna be some skills that you need to develop, but on the other hand, it's more like a structure on understanding that you don't need to waste time on some things that do not add value. Okay. On the other hand, the sales management.
Yeah.
I know you have been with me in some of these processes on how the resistance of the sales teams that were traditionally only and financial and on to accomplish their quota monthly or quarterly, it just takes to a point that it's very difficult to collaborate because there's a lot of churn, a lot of lack of collaboration within the sales, but especially a traditional and commission and bonus plans that just makes this even harder. And of course, as a sales director, if you are still in this way of working, it's going to be very difficult to get the narcissism from the sales teams. As I remember you said the other day, sales teams are not working as a team.
Yeah.
And I love that a lot.
Yeah, totally. And that you mentioned some interesting thing, the thing about value, because one of the things we have learned helping these sales teams is that the value is defined by the client. So the sales teams are very focused on selling what they think is their value to the market. But sometimes the market don't see that as a value. And that's why I mentioned that the sales teams don't work as team, because first of all, a sales team needs to be compounded with the marketing area, product area, and sales area. And if the sales area, they are working as individuals, like I see that the other person in the team is struggling with this client, but I am not going to help him because I don't get any commission. I don't get paid for that. So if he has problem, I don't care. But that's the problem. You are not thinking as a team. And I think, Gerardo, that we are going to talk about these problems individual in different videos, but there is something at the beginning that says lack of validated leads. And as you mentioned, I have been with you with several meetings, uh, seeing how the people is not okay with this transformation, because with with all the words, this is a transformation of the way of selling. So they always say marketing is the problem because the leads they are pushing to us, it doesn't work. So I think that we need to start working as a team. I think that all the sales area needs to be reinvented or needs to be rethinked, because I think that the main problem is trying to do a transformation doing the thing in the traditional way. And the traditional way is having this reporting meeting, it's having this churn rate increase, it's having the same kind of leaders, because Gerardo, I think that it's important that all the people who is hearing us right now understand that everything starts as any transformation with the transformation of the leader. If the leader is not pushing this with their team, this is not going to work. So if you are those kind of leader that want to buy something and bring into your team and hey guys start doing this, and you are not understanding what is really happening, please stop seeing our videos because it's not going to work. Those are the kind of worst decisions that a lot of companies do. So I think that we need to pass to the next slide, Gerardo, of what takes to professionalize the sales areas, because we are talking a lot that there are problems, that there is an elephant in the room that no one wants to talk about. But what we have created, what we have found in these years, I think that it's important that all the people who is seeing this video understand that yeah, there is a different way of selling. There is a different way of even having your CRM with a different process, or the process do it in the right way. So what takes to professionalize the sales area, Gerardo?
Yeah, sure. And before getting to that point, I probably forgot to mention that we got to this point to 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 understanding a lot of methodologies that are all around the world and about sales, and because we were having the same problem many years ago with our companies. We are IoT companies. We were having problems in the closing. Lead times were so long, a year or probably a year and a half, and we were not able to find something that actually helped us to go to the next level. And of course, we hired some consultants who were very good on techniques and a lot of things. But when we start realizing that we just the solution we just next door, we start looking to the lean agile software development process, and then we just understood that everything was done there. We just needed to apply it, and this is why we have been spending a lot of time exploring this methodology. The first thing of the four things we're going to be talking about in the next video is methodology. And I'm not going to be mentioning everything, but what is a methodology? Is the way that you are doing things by principles. Okay, and that's the main difference that probably not most people understand, that it's not the same as a process. A process is the steps that you're taking to get to that point to solve a solution, to solve a problem. So the methodology we're going to be using lean principles, agile principles as well, and from that point we're going to be explaining exactly, depending on your business outcome, what do you need to do to professionalize your sales team. The process probably is one of the main things that it seems a lot of people is talking, but when we start realizing that nobody's like, really working exactly on how to reduce the waste, just on how getting to the point that they close their deals. When we realized it these years ago, we understood that the close is just, the effect about all the things that we were doing in qualification processes, in the assessment process. And in that way, of course, there's going to be KPIs that you need to understand and to apply. On the third way, techniques, of course, techniques are important, and it's quite important if you're in a digital world. Of course, you need to understand with some of the tools how to get to a point that co-create things with your customer, to understand things, to understand just not what they say in one-to-one meetings, but what the organizations really are trying to approach, what their business outcomes. And of course, there's new things, but something, some of the things that we are going to be talking about, they have already been doing in software development. So it's not something like really different. We are just applying these to sales. And then the last, of course, tools, digital tools. We're all in the digital world, and this is something that, of course, is going to be helping us. So, what takes to professionalize? Takes a lot of times, but uh, basically take a lot of willingness. You need
We need to do it.
to be willing to change, to make another change in your processes and the way that you're thinking, from the traditional to new ways of doing things. And of course, we're gonna try to help sharing all this information. From now, I think this is enough. You are gonna be seeing a lot of us in the next videos. But Eduardo, what do you think about it? It's a huge challenge. I'm very excited to get to all the people that has been asking, all this information in English. And
Yeah.
I don't know, what do you think about it? How do you feel?
Yeah, totally. I think that it's a challenge because there is a lot of information what we have learned with our coaches, with all the implementations of this Lean Agile sales framework with our clients, and of course, following the inspiration of methodologies like continuous innovation framework, scaled agile framework enterprise. But I think that what is really important to mention, Gerardo, is that people understand that this is not about digitize the sales area, because a lot of people what is looking is how to sales in Zoom, how to do sales in virtual presentation, what are the best techniques to do sales in 2022. I think that it's good that the people understand that these frameworks, what really do is that change the process, change the mind, implement not traditional techniques, but new techniques, and using the tools, but using the tools properly, following the methodologies that are in that tools, because a lot of people have their CRMs with Kanban, but they don't know what is Kanban. They don't know how they have to create their Kanban board. And if the process of the factory, or a lane in a factory is wrong, the product is going to be wrong, obviously. So I think that it's very important that they understand that this is not something that we imagine in our bed, in our room at the night, thinking like, oh, how can we create a process or a better process in order to sales? We create this in order to solve our own problem, because we were helping companies to sell IT products, IT services, and we have been helping a lot of companies, over 100 of companies. One of them told us like 3 weeks ago, Gerardo, like, It was difficult. It was a challenge. We only have one sales in that 2 months with you, but with that one sales, we have a very good ROI, and we are feeling very good. And 1 year after, we are so happy to do this transformation because we don't want a lot of leads. We want less leads and more closings. And that's we are going to teach you, or we're going to tell you how to approach to this opportunity of having better leads and closing in a shortest time. So I'm very excited, Gerardo, to be with you. I think that it's enough for us. If the problem, as one friend says, is not that you give us the microphone, is that you take us the microphone away from us, because at the moment you give us the microphone, we start talking and talking and talking, and we think to stop for now and see you in the next video.
Of course, and it's always a pleasure be sharing all this information with you. Please, if you have any comments, right here in the YouTube channel, or if you wanted to contact us directly, please be my
Feel
guest.
free to do it.
And we are going to be so happy to hear from you. And let's keep in touch and watch the next video. See you then. Bye bye.
See you then. Bye bye.